My original last name is Washburn. My new last name is Jama. That's my wife's last name.
I would recommend that he finds God.
Our silence means something.
2025 has to have been the worst year of iDubbbz's life, by far. Losing his fans that have stuck by him ever since his reputation started to slip. Losing somebody that considered him a friend for over a decade. And, of course, losing his boxing event Creator Clash. And it all stems down to one deep-rooted issue: his wife. In a previous video, we talked about how iDubbbz and Ethan Klein used to be a couple of besties. But now, we get to see what kind of a snake iDubbbz was the whole time. Even though Creator Clash 2 was a complete and utter failure, going $250,000 in the red when all was said and done, on January 29th of this year, the unthinkable happened, and they announced on Instagram that Creator Clash 3 was on its way. Remember, this was supposedly a charity event where in the last one, absolutely no money went to charity whatsoever. All because Anisa wanted to host a $500,000 gala. But don't worry, because we're gonna get there. Being iDubbbz's friend, Ethan Klein had promoted the two previous boxing events heavily, and was one of the biggest factors in the success of the first one. And let's be real, nothing could stop Anisa from letting her ego take over and ruining the second one. But for all the good that Ethan Klein had done for the Jomas, he then made the cardinal sin of bad-mouthing Hasan Piker. Hasan Piker is one of the many men that Anisa openly has a crush on, even going as far as to brazenly walk into his home without her wedding ring on, or even one of those silicone ones. Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker used to run the world's worst podcast together called Leftovers, until it got cancelled in November of 2023 due to irreconcilable differences. And on January 31st, 2025, Ethan Klein uploaded a video called Content Nuke Hasan Piker. In this video, Ethan brought up one of the real reasons why they broke up, and that was because he truly believed that Hasan was putting on the face of a moderate in order to funnel people into extremist ideologies.
Was Hasan presenting a Trojan horse to my community, where he was just a left-leaning Democrat like myself, and as he said in the previous video, was funneling them into radicalization and turning them against me.
Liberals are some of the easiest to manipulate people on the fucking planet, dude.
Was I being manipulated this whole time?
That was my fear anyway. Regardless of his true beliefs, that broke my trust in him, and I pretty much ended the show immediately. And I felt guilty for my participation in mainstreaming Hasan. And for that, I apologize. Over the past year since the show ended, I continue to watch Hasan platform, promote, and propagandize terrorist organizations. And every time it happened on Twitch, I would say, man, this time surely he went too far and someone's got to do something. But as the time went on, nothing happened, and his views got more and more radical and more disturbing.
But it wasn't just Hasan that was brought up, because Ethan Klein also mentioned Frogan. Frogan is another live streamer who most people that know her name only know it because she had wished that all American soldiers coming home would get PTSD on her stream.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. US military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
Besides that clip, the rest of Frogan's fame is straight up because she was a Discord mod for Hasan. Oh, and her thing on stream is that for the low price of $10, she will eat a hard-boiled egg on stream. Even DSP has better food goals.
A large streamer on Twitch donated $10,000 to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. That's a wonderful thing to do, right? No, not good enough for Frogan.
So I personally donated 10K. Because I think it is worthwhile. And if you guys got some extra bread, I would recommend you donate. But I won't throw it on you, you know what I mean? No thanks. And some people are going to say that, you know what I mean? That's why it's the difference.
This is a cracker take. Keep your fucking money. Keep your $10,000. Keep your little chump change. Like, Like, what do you want? Do you want me to say like congratulations?
Imagine being Frogan, a leftist living in LA in comfort, begging for her rent money on stream, and telling displaced and famished Palestinian children, "No kids, you need to give that 10,000 back. Ludwig didn't pass my purity test."
Keep your fucking money.
Overall, I think the video was a little longer than it needed to be. But again, I think it got some of the biggest points on who Hasan really is out there. But the Joma family didn't like it one bit, and they would let people know. Did any of y'all watch the Content Nuke by H3? Do you think it is a worthy homage to the Content Cop series? We ain't talking about any of that. I wasn't trying to cause trouble, sorry. No worries, just a sensitive topic is all. Thanks, Aunt. That's right, Anisa Joma behind the scenes did not like that video one bit and wanted to get her revenge. But there's a problem with that. Anisa is somebody that is completely unable to make it on her own, and she needed to latch herself onto a bigger content creator in order to get any sort of notoriety. Despite having over 200,000 followers built up on Twitch, half of the recorded streams she still has up could not break 150 views. She's had one single month since June of 2022 where she's gained more followers than she's lost. And if you check out her YouTube, it's even worse, with her losing subs every month consistently for the past 3 years. Coincidentally, she also hasn't uploaded a single video in 4. Anisa, despite seeing herself as the main character on the planet Earth, on her own has absolutely no clout. And if she was to do a stream, or even a full-on video on her channel rushing to Hasan's aid, absolutely nothing would come from it. And at best, that thing might get 40,000 views at most, with most of them memeing on her in the comments. It gets even crazier how much she really wanted to rush to Hasan's defense because, in reality, the Content Nuke didn't even do that much. If you like Hasan, you're just gonna brush off the entire Content Nuke, and most likely not even watch it. And if you can't stand Hasan, you're probably going to agree with it. Hasan is a pretty polarizing figure. There aren't a whole lot of people neutral to him. So, what does Anisa do, knowing that she's not able to clap back for her senpai herself? She goes to her husband, Ian, and tells him that he's going to revive the Content Cop series. Something that he had publicly apologized for making years ago, and has even taken those videos on his channel down because he regretted making them. But why would he do that, you might be asking? iDubbbz's could have left the videos up and donated the money to a charity. Well, he claimed that as a grown adult at the age of 30 years old, he developed the feeling empathy.
The content I'm talking about specifically are Content Cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. You know, these videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views.
So, with Creator Clash 3 announced to happen on June 28th, 2025, just 5 months after the Content Nuke, rather than actually work on that, Anisa had iDubbbz's focus entirely on that video. And then, either iDubbbz's or Anisa using his account would then start tweeting out some passive-aggressive tweets towards H3H3. Creator Clash 3 needs a headline fight. Here are some options. Ethan Klein versus Hasan Piker. Hassan Abi versus H3H3 Productions. Vape Nash versus Hank Pecker. What about Mason versus Charlie Kirk? I think Charlie would only fight college students. Ethan would actually respond to this in good faith, saying that he still liked iDubbbz's but did not find that tweet very funny.
I think it's a good option there.
I think it's fucking. I like iDubbbz's. He's a good guy, but I don't like this tweet. It's stupid. No, but I don't like people characterizing it as some silly beef like that. It's not. It's not.
We're going to see how much of that goodwill Ethan gave the Jomas that he was going to get back from them, especially while his employees AB and Lena were helping out with the event. Lena, in particular, actually was fighting on the card. Ethan Klein even donated $1,000 to a Creator Clash livestream where iDubbbz's great idea was that he was going to punch a bag to drain its HP, but for every donation, its HP would recover. There was almost no interest in this whatsoever, and he killed the punching bag in no time. Fast forwarding to March 5th, and things would actually start to go sour, with someone known as Froggy Tonic, one of iDubbbz's ex-editors and friend with an interesting choice of fashion to say the least, started accusing Ethan of neglecting his dog's health to the point of causing its death and abusing his children. Behind the scenes, Ethan asked the Jomas if they would come out publicly and say how they've known Ethan and Gila Klein for a decade by this point, and say that these allegations are not true. And after all of the promotion they've done for Creator Clash, coming to the defense of the Joma family in the past, and more, they were told, no, we're not commenting about this, and then were left on red. H3H3 would respond to both these allegations on livestream, and with a dedicated video. We're gonna go through some highlights of both, as if they were one video.
So this guy, Froggy Tonic, who is a previous editor and friend of Anisa and iDubbbz's, who also, I mean, Anisa was interacting with him as far as like the same day, talking to him on Twitter. So she's at least on friendly terms with them. That being said, my criticism is obviously of him, but here's the caliber of tweets that this guy's putting out that is supposedly on my friend's feed, who are afterwards willing to still engage in friendly conversation with him. Just learned 2 years before Ethan's dog's death, some H3 fans voiced concern for his chronic vomiting, pointing to kidney failure, got shunned by other fans. Ethan declined the advice, stayed course, cheese as treats. Fast forward, dog dies of kidney failure at 6 years old, lifespan 13 years. They have no limit. They just go for whatever they presume is the most painful. And obviously blaming me for killing my beloved pet. And then extrapolating meaning to somehow say I'm abusing my kids. There's actually no limit to their cruelty. And I listen, I've been dealing with this shit for like 2 years at this point. The part that got to me about this is just like, this is apparently someone who's like a professional career as an editor, who's worked with my friends on the previous Creator Clash, edited everything for them, who they still interact friendly with. And that just fucking breaks my heart. It does, as a human being. Let me read what I said. These evil fucking C-words are working around the clock. This former editor for iDubbbz said this. I took Shredder to the doctor many times over the years. I told him repeatedly about Shredder's frequent puking. He always told me it was normal for his breed. I told him about his odd bad breath. The doctor kept telling me he was fine. I am so fucking pissed at that veterinarian. The doctor never ordered blood testing, although we did some probably a year before and he was fine. Even the day before Shredder's diagnosis, I told my mom to bring him to the vet because he seemed off. I was on a vacation with the kids and Hila's mom at the time in San Diego. And even then, when my mom took him to the vet, he took his vital signs and he said he looked fine. The very next day, Shredder was puking out his meals. So my mom, thinking she's being overly concerned, took him back the next day and insisted they do a blood test. Next day after that, we got a call saying Shredder had stage 4 kidney failure and needed to go to the hospital or to get his kidneys flushed or he would die. He spent the next 3 days in the hospital, and while we got his values to go down, damage was already done, and over the next 6 months, his kidney continued to give out. It was one of the most painful, traumatic experiences of my entire life. I love that dog, as all of you guys know, with my heart and soul, and I would have done anything for him. Using this as some kind of psychotic own to impugn my character is just cruel, pathetic on levels most humans aren't capable of. Fuck you, you piece of shit, and fuck my, quote, friends too, who I have stood by all these years, who can't find their spine. I don't need any fair weather friends. And that's all I'll say about that. It's all nice and good to reach out and say like, hey, just so you know, he doesn't work for us anymore, and I'm really sorry that you're going through this, and openly communicating with somebody who's actively saying this shit. Anyway, this guy was saying shit like that Hila's a Nazi, that she kills kids, that she went on like, she's like a IDF baby killer, all this types of shit, and that's showing up right up on Anisa's and iDubbbz's feed. My good fucking friends who I stood by after all these fucking years can't find a spine to speak up. You know why? Because they'll get murdered. I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz's and Anisa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them because I love those guys. I vouched for their character, and I stood by them 100%. And listen, I'm not saying that they're not the good, nice, fine people that I thought they were. But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. That's what I'll say at this moment. And certainly, I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing, I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
Things were getting serious in the public eye, but they were going to get a whole lot worse off camera. Because some of these people thought it would be cool calling Child Protective Services lying about the Klein family, trying to have their children taken away from the household, and sending actual human skulls.
Listen, in our long career of being influencers in the public sphere, we've been swatted several times.
Yep.
People say, "Hey, I killed my wife and kids, and I'm in the closet, and I'm gonna kill myself."
And I put bombs around the house.
It's usually something like that, and then the helicopters come, fire trucks come, police come. This morning we got a visit from Child Protective Services because when we adopted Olive, she had Giardia, and then the next day, Sonny started having diarrhea, so we suspected he might have Giardia. It turned into this whole snark narrative that our house is a mess, that there's dog shit everywhere, that Sonny is eating shit and getting Giardia, and that, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it culminated in somebody finally, an anonymous call went into them on the 3rd, saying that they were somebody that works at the house, and they wanted to report us because our kids are crawling around eating dog shit and getting viruses, and they were able to provide enough details because of what I said on the show to make it appear that it was somebody. He said, like, when he first showed up, he's like, it's somebody that you know who made the report. I mean, you walked around with him. I was upset about the whole thing. And then the part that, in my opinion, crossed the line was like, so I'm going to visit your kids at school and ask them questions. And I says, you're not fucking doing that.
No,
I mean, we both were like, that's not happening.
No.
You're not going.
Terrifying.
You are not doing that. So he agreed to come visit our house
next week
when the kids are at home, because he needs to fucking interview our kids. Yeah, friends like these.
Oh, yeah. And our other good friends.
Yeah.
Anisa and Ian. Yeah. Thanks, Anisa, for standing up for your girl. I actually stood up for you so many times because, like, why would I not? It was crazy. It's crazy. People were shitting on you and Ian because you did OnlyFans. Of course I was going to stand by you. That's insane. It's absolutely insane and disgusting. But now you choose to hang out with people that would have a problem with you if you defended me. So,
the problem.
Okay, if you want to hang out with those people and have no spine and not stand up for another girl that stood up for you, enjoy your new friends.
She's friends with people like Denims.
I know.
Her dad,
yeah.
Which I'll show.
Denims
Denims is actually participating in this whole Child Protective Service lie.
Yeah.
Which I'll
and if
show
you're
you guys
friends with them, then you're seeing what they're saying, right?
Oh, well, that Child Protective Service is even the worst thing. I mean, she's said worse things about you and me. I just don't see how you can be my friend and also be friends with someone like that.
Well, you can't. So I already forgot about you.
The last thing I said to Anisa, we were texting before I ever talked about it. And I said, she's like, I don't care about this guy. He's a nobody and, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, then you'll have no problem publicly denouncing it, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, the conversation ended.
She never replied.
Never responded.
But it was so funny how she immediately went to comment everywhere, like on our subreddit. She immediately had to comment like, oh, he doesn't work with us anymore. But that was it. That's all she said.
But then say that you don't
Okay. Do you have anything else to say for your friends, though? Oh, yeah. And I wanted to say another thing. People are saying this thing like Anisa ruined Ian. Like, no.
That's pathetic.
Ian ruined Ian. Anisa ruined Anisa. Ian ruined Ian. They're both adults.
I agree.
They make their own actions. Ian sucks for the same reason right now. he could say something.
Spineless.
He could say something too. He has his own following.
Well, Ian knows us better than
mouth. He's been with us. He's seen us with our kids.
Spineless, actually.
He could say something too. So Anisa didn't ruin Ian. That's bullshit. Like, don't start thinking like that. People say that about me sometimes.
Well, I thought it was ironic.
That's not how it works. They're adults.
I thought it was really ironic because we defended Anisa against these accusations that she's some corrupting force that
right, and I'm not going to change my mind on it. I'll still defend her on that.
Well, it's super chauvinistic thing that the internet's been talking about, and we always spoke that's just super chauvinistic and
but
fucking
unlike
gross.
Hasan, I'm not going to change my morals now because I'm not friends with her anymore. I'll still defend her on that. She did not ruin Ian. Ian can only ruin Ian. Saying it only privately but nothing publicly is just not going to cut it for me right now, unfortunately.
They're calling CPS, Child Protective Services, to come to our house and break up our family. Not only have they called CPS on us, now they're starting to try to call in a 5150 to get me committed. It's really gone on too far, and at this point, I'm ready to take no prisoners, take the gloves off, and call out everybody who needs to be called out. The thing is, once you target my children, then a line's been crossed that cannot be walked back. Once my kids are involved, when people are targeting my children, harassing my children, there's no length that I won't go to take care of this. And I think that's something that every parent can relate to. All these people, incidentally, who are promoting this type of insanity are, in fact, childless and will likely remain that way. Here, for example, is Denims, aka Hasan Waiting Room, watching Bad Empanada talk about the state of our house and how we take care of our kids.
He lets his dogs shit all over his mansion, and he just leaves the shit on the floor, something that is probably related to the fact that his former housekeeper is suing him for a number of different reasons. So I would assume he doesn't actually have a housekeeper anymore, or perhaps he lost his extra housekeeper. So now the house is just like covered in dog shit. And he has kids, and his kids like crawl into the dog shit, and God forbid, I don't know what they do with it. I don't know if they eat it or if it's just from like contact with it with their hands or something. But they contracted a parasite that I had previously never heard of in my life called Giardia from the dog shit that is all over his house.
Dude, how is it that like maybe once a week I look into what Ethan Klein's been up to, and every time I manage to find more and more terrible shit.
She believes that it's justified to break up our family. This disgusting fucking human being.
The bread tuber Bad Empanada, who Hasan Piker calls Good Empanada, would also claim responsibility for this.
Here's Bad Empanada once again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger.
Ian and Anisa knew all of that and still sided with the people doing it. All because Anisa is looking to monkey branch her way from iDubbbz's to Hasan Piker. When asked to say that all these allegations were false, Ian and Anisa Joma left them on red, probably laughing about it all smugly. And to make it even worse, Anisa would then twist the knife, posting this: I don't want to know people like that anymore. As if there was an obligation, as if I owed you something. As if I owed you something. All she was asked to do was denounce this slander from their ex-editor. And even after everything that the Kleins have done defending the Jomas, that was too much. Thankfully, sometimes things just work themselves out, and things started falling apart for the Jomas almost immediately, and I mean real fast. Almost everybody that covered this was genuinely shocked. Keemstar, Destiny, and The Quartering, all people who have no love for the Kleins whatsoever, all came out saying that he was in the right. So what was iDubbbz's and Anisa going to say on their podcast about the whole thing? They completely brushed it off, saying they wanted to stay out of the drama.
Cool. Okay, so there you go. This is for a very specific subset of people who are very upset at my DMs.
Yeah, so Ethan's upset with, I think, some of our connections, and, you know, we've tried to reach out to Ethan to talk privately. Basically, it just seems like we're at a bit of an impasse. So we want to stay out of the drama as much as possible. We don't want to pile on and add to anything. So this is our, you know, lukewarm addressing of it. It's, you know, we're always open to talk. privately, especially. And yeah, we'll, you know, the door's always open.
Yeah, the door's always open. I want to, like, really drive it home. We don't condone harassment.
We don't condone harassment of any kind.
Of any kind, okay, period. Which is why we have not stuck our foot in any of this, because it is not productive. I don't think it's helpful. And these are real people who have real feelings. When you get the help and you realize that this is like something that you cannot control at all and it doesn't have to affect your life, that's the only way it gets better.
Yeah.
Things piling on, things adding to it, people weighing in, people throwing punches for you, does not help. You know? And I'm at the point now, thankfully, with the combination of like therapy, the support systems that I have, my friends that I have, everything, like, I'm not worried about saying this online.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure people will take it and talk about it. I'm proud of what I'm saying right now. And the people who get it will get it. And the people who think that I'm a bad person for that will think I'm a bad person.
You know, yeah, obviously it's great to show support. Like, people love that.
People are so busy, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not online reading.
Things are complicated.
Yeah.
I had a lot of friends when I did my apology that did not fuck with it in the slightest.
Yeah, they didn't agree.
And they still don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
They don't agree with it. And, you know, I don't really expect them to come to bat for me or anything if they don't agree with it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't expect them to speak up, period, on any of it.
I appreciate that they don't.
Yes.
Because it just makes things more complicated. It's like, I can get a read from you with, like, what you say or don't say. But that's life. Like, that's life.
This isn't drama like these people are all in high school. This is a parent's worst nightmare. And when the people that they have gone to bat for time after time were asked if they could help, Ian and Anisa looked at them like they were Isildur in Lord of the Rings being told to throw the ring into Mount Doom and were told no. Well, on April 7th, iDubbbz's and Anisa released the final She Ruined My Career podcast episode to date. Likely because they were busy with another project. But what could that be, as if I didn't foreshadow it already? That's right, on April 16th, iDubbbz's would release his new content cop, something that he said he would never do again. iDubbbz's then tried to change history, not once mentioning about Child Protective Services falsely getting called on the Klein family in order to punish them because Ethan and Hila Klein's politics aren't the correct ones according to Anisa and friends.
If I would imagine this in 2016, I would have been like, oh yeah, if I ever do that, it's gotta be because I lose the plot. Well, it turns out it's not me losing the plot, it's Ethan. He's the one who fucking attacked. Since Ethan and Hasan's falling out, I've been keeping to myself mostly. I don't have many nice things to say. Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can, like, rekindle our friendship. So yes, I am willing to admit that my former editor was being very nasty, uncharitable, and fucked up towards Ethan and Hila on Twitter.
I've probably done and stood by iDubbbz's and Anisa more than anybody. I've stood by them when all the internet hated them.
I don't like that Ethan brought this up because it makes the relationship feel very transactional. Like, you know, we're just meant to support each other online despite our own personal morals or principles.
But I'll say this, I don't think they're fucking any friends of mine. And certainly I don't think they're any fucking friends of mine based on the text conversation I had with them too before I even talked about it. So I have nothing. Like, I don't need any fucking halfway friends, man.
I thought the text conversation that I had with him was very empathetic. I basically just said, like, I know you and Hila are experiencing a ton of harassment, and I essentially empathize with that, and I think there's something positive to get out of the conversation. But he refused to talk on the phone unless I was willing to publicly say something about my former editor and denims. Would it have been nicer and more supportive to say, we don't agree with the things he's saying and we support Ethan and Hila? Sure. Like, yeah, that would have been a nicer thing to say. Our silence means something. It means that we would like to pause this relationship until you figure your shit out. And then maybe we can find a moment in time, I don't know how long it'll be, but a moment in time in the future where things are a little bit easier to broach. I don't think we need to do it right now, but you've insisted that this is an important thing to address. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me on your Instagram story. I would have been perfectly fine with you not blasting me and my wife on your podcast twice. There was a way to approach this to say like, yeah, we feel hurt by you guys not saying something. You've decided to do the extra thing and attack. Now, in fairness, I am attacking back, but I feel very insulted and I feel defensive. There isn't a single person that I respect who would give a fuck if I publicly said that Ethan and Hila are great with their kids, Ethan and Hila didn't kill their dog, and Ethan and Hila wipe their asses or don't have giardia or whatever the prompt is. No one would care. The only person who would care is me, because I'm like, why did I tweet this out? I'm not tweeting out because I'm not your fucking lapdog. That's why I'm not tweeting it out. I'm not saying it to my audience because I don't give a fuck.
And to put the icing on the cake, iDubbbz then went to a YouTube psychologist called Psychology in Seattle, trying to get him to change an apology score he had given to Ethan in the past. And for some reason showed him crying with tears coming out of his eyes, and then coped and seethed when the guy said no.
Okay, iDubbbz, I hear you. You're in the room with me right now. I hear you. I hear your request. I understand it. I can understand where it's coming from. And I guess have a policy that when there is a grade for an apology, I am just grading that discrete apology as I see it without taking any consideration of prior or future behavior. If you're wanting me to comment on the overall behavior or the recent behavior from the clips that you have shown me, I believe that Ethan is a good person and that eventually he will feel sorrow and will feel sorry and will apologize, and I will be there to evaluate that apology when it happens, which I know it will.
Unfortunately, Kirk did not change his grade.
Again, iDubbbz cried his eyes out as he was speaking to him about his wife.
Make memes of your enemies until they cry, and then make memes of them crying.
Ethan Klein found out about this live on air and reacted to it for us. Remember that some of Ethan's employees were supposed to be helping out with Creator Clash, with Lena fighting in it.
Well, what happened? There's more bad news?
I do have some more bad news for you. Some breaking news. Your old friend iDubbbz just released a video.
Yeah.
It's about you.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God. That is no, it can't be.
Well.
It actually can't be. Holy fuck, dude.
It sure is.
Oh my God. Holy fuck.
And from a quick scrub through, I think, well, it's going to be a little spicy.
Let's watch it. I mean, so like the thing is like, this guy went from saying he didn't want to get involved to supporting people calling CPS, like associating with people calling CPS on my family. An atmosphere where someone like Bad Empanada is being platformed by people like Matt Lieb and Denims, who are friends with.
It looks like they're both in the video.
Check the description.
Oh my God! Like what? Like what? Why? What would I do to like fucking like what kind of fucking like bro? What kind of cowardly bullshit is this? Like we have one disagreement where I get upset because you guys aren't defending me publicly after everything I've done to support you guys, and like you bring on people who are fucking Denims and Frogan. Lena's fighting in your fight, bro. Like what the fuck are you doing? I actually can't believe that he did this. By the way, iDubbbz's, Lena's fucking having a panic attack because why would you do this and not even tell her? Like, why would you invite someone on the show and do this? It's just fucking mean-spirited. I can't, I'm genuinely in disbelief.
iDubbbz would then, of course, also post this picture the very next day with his cool new friends, wielding the swastika katana, something that you would see used against you during a boss fight in a Wolfenstein game. I don't know what iDubbbz thought was going to happen here, but whatever it was, the polar opposite of that was about to go down.
Whatever you think's supposed to happen, I'm telling you, the exact reverse opposite of that is gonna happen.
No one outside of the Hasan crew thought that this was a good video. Some people would actually say it's like iDubbbz knocking down the first domino, killing off his career. But I think it's more like him trying to pull out one of the side pieces in a Jenga tower after the center piece has already been taken out. Even Harley Mornstein, who bent over backwards to sweep for iDubbbz and Anisa during Creator Clash 2, would then show his concerns about all this coming out. The content cop was a lot to process since I feel particularly tied up with Creator Clash 3 and all that. I will let it marinate in my mind before I can conjure up a meaningful thought. Oh, and immediately after that video came out, Frogan, who if you remember said she hopes all American soldiers get PTSD and planned a 9/11 baking stream, cried on stream because apparently there are consequences for going after somebody else, and ended up getting redder than a tomato you would find at the supermarket.
I don't know if I believe in karma. You know what I mean? And I'm like, if I had to lose my career over this bullshit, at least I can say I was consistent in my views. Others can't say that, but I can. And I feel like such a bitch for crying, but it's just like you sit and reflect, and it's just like, what the fuck, dude? There are some days I just sit and I'm just like, I'm like, what did I do to deserve this?
This was also Ethan Klein's response to that cry bully.
But now she's ever the cry bully. Now, Frogan, you did not have to be in this video, right? But here's her response that evening after joining the dog pile.
They're not just being in the video. Like, she was like dancing and doing the L and like flipping you off.
Bro, you did a Fortnite L on me. Yeah, you flipped me off, girl. You did that. Nobody made you go into Hasan's office and do a Fortnite dance, okay? Nobody made you do that. This is your music. This is actually your music. Okay, if iDubbbz's video had a soundtrack, it would be that. Go ahead, Zach.
I don't know if I believe in karma. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
listen, if you don't, you should. You're a living example of it in action.
I don't understand, how is she crying?
Well, she didn't even start the tears yet.
if I had to lose,
How are you going to sit there and cry? It's just mind-bending. This girl is perpetually the victim after starting this entire thing.
A few days later, Ethan would make a proper response that was not a 5-hour live stream.
The video that I'm making today, however, I don't need an hour for, because there's really just one central point that I want to make here. My good friend Ian, in his hour-long takedown, did not mention one time Child Protective Services. Not one time. In the entire video, he never says CPS. No mention, no explanation, no overview, nothing. Zero mentions of CPS. A few weeks ago, Child Protective Services showed up to our house at 6 a.m. to interrogate us about an anonymous tip they got that our kids were crawling around and eating dog shit at catching diseases. Ian spends the majority of his video characterizing me like a raving lunatic who's lashing out at everyone around me with zero provocation.
Maybe if Ethan's able to get some help, maybe if he stops harassing other creators, maybe if he does these things, eventually he'll find peace and we can like rekindle our friendship. And I feel like I am speaking up for a lot of people who have problems with you, and a lot of people who have been on the receiving end of your harassment.
What he doesn't say is the majority of these clips he's using are taken from this episode. Now, does he ever show the title of this episode? No, he does not ever show the title of this episode. Snark called Child Protective Services on us. Not only does he not show the title, he doesn't explain why I'm upset, who I'm mad at, why I'm mad at them. Zero context. I am just an anonymous screaming lunatic. Here's Bad Empanada once again, who posted a story saying, I'm the one who called CPS on Ethan Klein. I want CPS to take his kids away because they are seriously in danger. Our silence means something. That's exactly what we felt. Wow, it's almost like we were right about you. There's something that I've never talked about publicly, but around the same time, we received 2 human skulls in the mail at our home, which led us to having a very pleasant interview with the FBI. Things have progressed well past the point of that's just what the internet does.
Ethan Klein had one main point in that entire Content Cop response. iDubbbz's not once mentioned Child Protective Services being falsely called upon him. The most important part of that story was swept under the rug because there was absolutely no way that anyone with a brain could side with him after knowing that. This betrayal was easily the dumbest thing that iDubbbz's and Anisa could have possibly done with Creator Clash 3 on its way. Because of that snakening, multiple of their fighters made the decision to drop out, from Lena of H3H3 to Harley Mornstein, who was supposed to fight LA Beast as the main fight on the card. All I know about him, by the way, is that he's the guy that ate a cactus that was not chew nice. This caused the state of Florida to step in and say that by their rules, all refunds asked for were mandatory by law, because the main fight that people had paid for was not happening. But listen guys, we're gonna have to get to that one another time because Mr. Audentum is on a bit of a tight schedule right now, and if we don't end this video here, it's not gonna be out for another 2 weeks. But don't worry, because we're gonna get back to this real soon. As always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon. But wait, what's this?
Chili garlic for the people of America.
I am never going to financially recover from this.